So I just recorded a longer version of this. I told the story of how this guitar basically came to be, but I'm gonna make a short version real quick, and if you want to hear the longer version, let me know. But I might release that a little later, but 32 minutes with some playing, of course. Probably the last 10 minutes just me playing around with this thing. But so short story is I started buying and selling guitars last year, maybe 2 years ago, and busting into the market. I found that it was pretty flooded with some people that were really good at what they do, which is student guitars, beginner guitars. They get them in, they polish them, they go through them, they set them up, and they look perfect. And they're used guitars, but you would think they're brand new. And they get a bunch of them in, and they sell them very well priced, $100, $120. A little more on some. They don't only have beginner guitars, but that's just what I think the forte is. And they're nice enough people too. I like them. I met a couple. Anyway, so when I was pursuing that, I came across occasionally, like $30, $40 where I wanted to spend on these guitars if I was going to try and turn them around and sell them for $100, because I was going to have to put a set of strings on them, most of them, to go through, fix any problems. That's time. It wasn't a whole lot of profit margin. Strings for $5, Pardon me, jeez. And I started coming across a lot of first act guitars, and I'd had a first act guitar once before. It was given to me after my guitars were stolen. They were nice enough to give me an acoustic and an electric, two different people, and I was very grateful. But at the same time, it was a BC Rich ASM1 that was stolen that I loved. I love that guitar. I still don't have one. I have a gunslinger that kind of replaces it. It's fine. But it's over and done with. But I was given an acoustic and an electric, and the electric was the first act, and I took it graciously. It was such a heartfelt thing. It was so nice that of them to give me these guitars, because they heard about what happened. They felt bad. It was amazing of them to do that. That being said, it was a first act. I was like, I don't even want to take this thing home. But I did. I took it home. I set it up. I didn't have any other electric guitars at the time. It was just that one, and it was gone. So I set it up, and I was almost infuriated with the fact that it sounded awesome. And I set it up, so the action was great. I straightened it, adjusted the truss rod, and it played great. It played better than some of the other guitars I played, like, nicer guitars I've owned. And I was like, this is stupid. This is stupid. It's a stupid guitar. It's some junk. It's some Target guitar. It's a Kmart guitar, Walmart guitar, whatever. I could not bring myself to like it. I hated that guitar. Why? Because it was awesome. Now that sounds sacrilege. I've met a lot of guitar players and guitar dealers alike that there's the stigma where when you see a first act guitar, it may as well be kryptonite, and it's automatically junk, and it automatically deserves to be thrown in the trash or set on fire. And there's like a hatred for these first act guitars. I'm the kind of person that goes against the grain a lot, so when this happens, I see everybody running one direction. I don't just start running that other direction for whatever it is. I look in the direction in which they're coming from, and I head towards it. And not because, not for the sake of going against the grain, not for the sake of, you know, if I turn around and I see that the building is burning, and that's why everybody, I will, yep, okay, building's burning, running this way. But I at least want to know why I'm running that way. I don't like to just like head into a direction. And I had inadvertently had one of these first acts that was awesome. And to hear, I guess just to hear like the utmost like disgust for something for no reason whatsoever. It just like, it pinched a nerve. Like, I had sold that first act that I had almost immediately. Like, maybe a couple months later, if that, as soon as I had another guitarist, I hated it. I have been playing guitar for 15 years. And here I am with this first act. Adam Levine, signature 222, first act. It infuriated me. And what was worse is it played awesome. Stupid guitar. Stupid guitar, you know, just like, ugh. But then, just the way I am, you see somebody else do the same thing I do. The stupid guitar, stupid junk. And I'm like, hey, why is it a stupid piece of junk? Why do I have to get why do I have to have opposite opinions? I don't know. So I started picking up some of these, because sometimes you can find them for $20, $30. This was $30. There's the first act. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not picking a fight with the guitar community and saying that these are the best guitars since sliced bread. I would not choose a first act over a BC Rich or a Dean or an Epiphone or a Kramer or a Jackson or a Moser or an Ibanez or any of my guitars, really. This would, if I had to start a lineup of guitars that would get thrown over a building, if I had to start answering questions and get them wrong, like, this would probably be the first one. This would probably be the first one. But that being said, it's just the awareness that these are not garbage. They can be. When these guitars come in the mail or come from the box at Walmart or Kmart or Target or Amazon or wherever you get them, the string height is this high, exaggerating, and the neck is tied up like a pretzel with a banana bone like this, and pull it out of the box and you plug it in and try and play it that way, especially if it's a child, which mostly they're bought for children. You got to push these strings that far down across the whole guitar length, and then the bow and they're toys like that. They're toys like that. They are. They're goofy. They look like a guitar. They got guitar parts on them, but the strings are this high. If you do tune it, by the time you fret, the string is bent down so far that the actual note changes, and it detunes. The guitar stays in the same tune, but the notes themselves detune as you bend the string down just to fret it. Okay, so even if a a professional guitar player walks up to one of these children that just got one of these guitars in the mail for Christmas and goes to play it, and he tunes it. He happens to tune. That first note he hits, that he has to put all that pressure in just to get the strings bent all the way down, is off. It sounds awful. It doesn't sound right. Like, oh, this thing's junk. It is. And it is like that. But any of these that you get are like that. When this came into a store, this came into a Guitar Center or a Sam Ash or wherever this was delivered, I didn't get this new. I made a trade for it. I traded a Yamaha electronic drum kit for this thing. And it's awesome. It's sweet. When I got this thing, the bridge was up like this. Like the angle was up here. Like that. And the strings were up this high off the fretboard. I mean, it was unplayable. The person got rid of this guitar because it was a piece of junk. Because the Floyd wasn't set up right, and I understand it got me before too. The Floyd wasn't set up right, so every time you tighten it up here, right, and the spring tension in the back wasn't tight enough. It was too loose, so the springs would stretch and they give. So every time you tightened up a string up here, like let's just say you tighten this string, it would tighten and it'd pull this up a little further. And then you go to do the next string, and you get that tightened, and it pulls up further. Now, once it's pulled up further again from the second string, the first string is already loose again. So then you go to the third string, and you tighten that, it goes up further, and then these two are now floppy, and you go down the line, and then you tuned each note. Each note you tuned, this came up a little bit more, making the strings before it floppy. And then you couldn't tune it. The action was this high. The neck was, it was the same. It was the same deal. This is an Ibanez RG. It's an EX. It's an RGR 420 EX. It's awesome. I think these are like $600 guitars, or maybe $700. I don't know. I have to look it up. You can look it up. And it was unplayable because it wasn't set up right. These are unplayable when they're not set up right. But when they're set up right, they're musical instruments. These guitars are just like these guitars. The quality of the pots, maybe not as good. The tuners are horrible in these. But these tuners were $12. I got the guitar for $30. I think I got these tuners for less than that, actually. I think I got these for like $6. I took the pick guard off of it. I could have left the chrome covers on them, but I put Ibanez, the Demarzio type, the Quantums. And here, these are the same as my Gem Junior has. It's black instead of white. I painted these black. I painted the chip, this, and the nut red. And that's all I did. Tell me, if I were to do this, what's wrong with this guitar? The neck stays straight. I straightened it once last year. I haven't had to do it since. The tuners were awful. I replaced them. The pickups were good, but I replaced them anyway just to prove a point. I want them to be better. There's no excuse. Even though the pickups are fine. Those pickups are sitting in this guitar right now. And they sound great. And everything works. So, without further ado, that just set up already. Well, there you have it. This is the first act, and it is awesome. This does not belong in the trash can. This doesn't belong in a landfill. This doesn't belong on fire. This doesn't belong under a tire. You can play it on a farm. You can play it in a barn. You can play it on your car. You can play it at a bar. You can indeed play these first act guitars. You can indeed play them by far.